Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Garrison for Guitar. Today we're gonna be doing a part 2 lesson of how to play beautiful chords or how to play better sounding chords on the guitar. In my last video, I looked at variations for A minor, C major, and I think E minor was another one that we looked at. Today we're going to look at C major once again. We're just going to talk about what's happening then and what I'm thinking about when I do mess with the chord shape and add a couple of unorthodox notes to an already existing open chord shape. Similarly, we're going to apply this concept to G major, and we're also going to look at D major. So these are the three chords we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to waste no time. I'm going to get right into it. So we're going to start with C major. I'm sure all of you know how to play C major, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna blow off our first finger. We're not gonna play that at all, and this becomes our first augmented or changed open chord position for C major. And as you can see, it adds a really mellow, sort of relaxed tone to it that I really like. And the next addition we're gonna make to this C major shape is we're gonna add in, um, we're gonna change it ever so slightly, and instead of playing the second fret on the D string or the fourth string, we're gonna play the fourth fret on the D string. All right, so your shape is originally like this, and what it's gonna change to is this. All right, or you can play it with your first two fingers, and you're gonna swap your middle finger out for your index finger and put your middle finger on the fourth fret of the D string. And I want you to just pluck out each string and see how unique it sounds. And this sounds sort of kind of dark, a little bit, a little mysterious. And why it works together well is because G and C are chords that have the G note in common, right? So when you play an open G string, you got the first third fret on the sixth string on the top string is a G note. The bottom one here, that's also a G note. And in the middle, you got the open G string. So you got three G notes. And when you play the C major chord, you also have that same open G string. So it is a common resonating sound between the two chords. And what we're playing here is a C note, an F sharp note, and the open G string. So when the C and the G ring out together and you add an F sharp, which is almost a G note, it creates a sort of tension that sounds really nice. So that's the first chord and its augmentations that I wanted to talk about. Two new variations to C major. You can play these two variations with E minor, G, um, and probably E minor, G, F sharp. These type of chords, they work well with these notes. And the next chord I want to talk to you about is the G major. Sorry about that. All right, two ways you can play it right there. And what we're gonna do, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna blow off the bottom string or our third finger, and we're just gonna play. And we're gonna see how the sound changes. All right, so that's the first really easy change or variation you can make to G major. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to add the same note, the fourth fret on the D string, and it actually sounds really unique. And even if you just focus on the top four strings, and it's using the same principle as the G note on the third fret of the sixth string, and then you got the F sharp, which is the fourth fret on the D string or the fourth string, and you got that open G. So just those three notes, and you also add a B note in there, which resonates well with the G, and just those three notes and together add this sort of a very dark and mysterious feel to what we know to be a very happy chord. way to the second string and you play that as an open string, you're adding another layer of the B note that I spoke about earlier. So that's the second chord that I wanted to talk to you about, a G major, and how to change it, how to play around with it. And the next chord that we're gonna look at is a D major. And I'm sure as beginner guitarists, you guys know like the whole D sus2 and D sus4. D sus2 is when you remove your middle finger and you play like an open string. And just by adding the third fret with your little finger, you get a lot of unique sounds. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch this shape out, and we're actually gonna make a reach for it with our little finger on the fifth fret, right? So we got the same two notes as we would have had in a D major chord, which is the second fret on the third string, the third fret on a B on the B string or the second string, and we got the fifth fret on the high E string or the first string. And the notes you want to play is all the strings from the fifth string. All right, you want to leave the E string out for this one. It might, like they're gonna be what, three open bassy strings or low strings that may drown out the rich trebly sound. So this is how we're gonna play it. And one of the things you would have noticed while I was playing all these shapes, especially in the ones where I'm adding a fret towards the front of the existing shape that's there in C, even in G, I am keeping my thumb all the way behind the neck of the guitar because I want to have a lot of open strings towards the bottom of the guitar. So what I'm doing there is I'm bringing my hand forward a little bit. This may be like quite exaggerated, but I'm just showing you the motion. And I'm not putting my thumb up here because once I do that, it's very difficult for me to, bring my hand forward. And what bringing my hand forward does is it creates space between the bottom parts of my fretting fingers and the strings. So I'm not flat up against the board, muting them out. And that's this is actually more so even in the first two shapes, but even for this one, I like to have my thumb behind the board, and also this is the most stretched out shape that I'm talking about. All right, you start on the second fret and you go all the way to the fifth fret, and you have one note in the middle. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my thumb, and it's somewhere like midway between these two frets because that's the extent of what I'm playing, and I just drag it back in that line, and I figure out the right angle for my hand to come in. And honestly, it is going to take a little bit of tweaking for you to figure out what your comfort point is and what the right angle for you is with respect to the shape of your hand, the size of your hand, the length of your fingers. All these things are going to come into play, but these are just some of the things to think about when you're trying to play a complex shape or just an unfamiliar shape. There could be shapes that may not be really difficult, and I also go through this if I play a new chord or if I'm playing a new lead sequence and it's a bunch of notes that are very close to each other, but I've just never done it before. It does take me a bit of time to figure out what's the best route to develop when it comes to my muscle memory playing those notes. And the last variation that we're going to look at of this D major chord, and the last chord we're going to look at for today is, it's almost the same thing except we're going to use our little finger. Now this might be a little tough, and we're going to play two strings at the same time. Alright, so that's the second one. That's the first one. So there's not much difference, but the second one does sound a little more augmented, a little more unique, whereas this one, it still sounds pretty much like a D major chord plus a little bit of a high note. But what we're doing here is we're playing one D note, and we're also adding the fifth fret on the B string, which is an E note. So it's creating a very nice sort of tension because D and E are just two frets apart on the board. So that's why it sounds really nice to have an open D string but have a high E note as well. So those are just some of the variations I want you to think about if you're interested in making new types of chords. And another tip I'd like to give you is, we've just spoken about like these open positions, towards the beginning of the fret. But if you ever want to make up a chord, in a particular scale, if you're familiar with the pentatonic or something like that, you can literally just choose notes from the pentatonic and put them together and play them all down as one downstroke. For example, in the A minor pentatonic, so I know those are my notes, towards one extremity, and I got this bar as the rest of my extremity. So if I want to play a chord like this, I've just basically chosen out three notes on one extremity of the box shape, and I've added in one note from the bar. I can similarly have four notes from the bar, and I'm hammering on one note from the box shape, or one note from the box shape of the natural harmonic minor scale, which is something I have talked about a lot, and how it's similar to the pentatonic, yet what are the subtle differences. So I'm going to link a couple of those videos that talk about this, and I would have already linked the first part one video to how to play beautiful chords on guitar. And I hope you like this video. I had a lot of fun making it. And if you have more requests on how to change specific chords and how to make them sound a little more cool, then please do drop them in the comments below. If this is your first video you're seeing of mine, then please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you did like it. And until next time, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for watching.